Hey, what's going on, guys? Xbox on channel. We'll take it forever. Just a small little podcast for you guys today. I wanted to give you a quick channel update. I will be having a Wrecking Crew podcast this Friday. I'm going to try and get as many people as I can into the podcast. I'm also going to try and start off at a reasonable time, which will be probably a little earlier in the evening if I can, if possible, to get everybody in there, but also to catch some of the guys that come in a little bit later. So I'll try and balance it out and get everybody in because I know we're gonna have a lot to talk about. I'm pretty sure you guys have been keeping up with everything that's been going on with Xbox, especially on social media, online, right? It's interesting because the feel and the vibe that I have from a lot of people is across the board right now when it comes to Xbox specifically and Microsoft and everything that's going to happen. Which the official announcement was dropped on what was it, Monday? No, last week I believe. Official date. And man, I got to give credit to Xbox and the people that work there, the people that run their advertising, the team that works on their film, as far as the branding and just everything that actually falls under the Xbox division. Man, these guys have been getting hammered to some extent. Now, again, I said there's a lot of drama that's been going on within the Xbox community. I mean, I'll be honest with you guys. I said this in the last video. To me, it's something to be. It's somewhat noteworthy. But to be honest, man, you can't compare to 2013, 2014, 2015. I know I keep on bringing that up just because I have to remind people because that was an all-out war back then. The brand was was definitely in flux. This is prior to Phil joining and taking control of the ship and turning it around and getting Xbox to the point that it is now. That's probably why I'm a little bit more optimistic than most people. And then again, I know a lot of you guys that are in the Xbox community now are relatively new. This is why I also don't go hard on people that are kind of losing their minds. I mean, some people you can kind of discern that they're just haters or they're jumping on a bandwagon. But I mean, if you're an Xbox guy, even if you just came in this past year, like maybe if you were at Starfield and stuff like that, and you feel like the brand isn't what you thought it would be, or that they are not selling you they're not selling the product that you originally bought into. Like I said, guys, on this channel we bleed green. I've been with Xbox ever since the first Xbox One. Of course, you guys know, but you can tell by my gamer tag here, Sega Forever, that I'm actually a hardcore Sega fanboy. I love Xbox. I like Xbox. I'm a consumer. I'm a fan. All of that. Um, but I came into the Xbox One totally different. I was into a whole different type of gaming scene back then. Dude. Like I told you guys before, man, I spent a lot of time in the arcades. One of the reasons why I liked my uh, Dreamcast and actually my Saturn is because they had some of the arcade games on the console that I could practice at home. So when I go to the arcades and I participate in tournaments and stuff, because that's that 1-for-1, we were almost reaching that level of the 1-for-1. In fact, it was Soul Calibur that set that standard on Dreamcast back in the day, if you guys remember that. On top of just loving their product, I'm talking about Sega. I followed developers heavily, all the teams, certain franchises, of course, like any hardcore Sega fan would back in the day. That's how I was. Xbox came along, they kind of flipped the script, and they've kind of been integrating their brand of gaming and their brand in general. And so when this is why I go back to 2013, guys. I mean, it was a bloodbath. It was a slaughterhouse. It was vicious, man. We were in the trenches. The only thing I think we had the Xbox community back then had over the Xbox community now is there's a tighter camaraderie that would fall apart eventually. If you guys listened to the last podcast and Hebot went on this epic rant about how things were, especially for him in general, right? He was kind of giving his testimony, for lack of a better word, about how it was for him personally. But it pretty much set this. It pretty much gives you an idea of what the standard was in the Xbox community back then. Really Machiavellian, dude. If I'm going to be honest, dude. Um, some of the best K dramas could learn from all the drama that was going on in the Xbox community back then. It was a little bit more brutish, man. A little bit more thuggish. And that's probably why now I don't take it so seriously, right? Because Xbox has definitely been through its ups and downs. And again, I told you guys, I'm not going to lose my mind over this. I've been through a lot now with Xbox, me personally. And what I'm talking about, I mean, I'm just talking about all the hate, hypocrisy that they from the people that hate Microsoft and hate Xbox. Um, I'm an Xbox fan, but I don't need to be told what to critique Microsoft on because I'm already a fan and consumer, right? I know what their problems are and I know what they need to work on. Plus, some of the stuff people want Microsoft to work on, that's just their own personal preference or opinion, right? Like much like anything else, most stuff is subjective, right? It's the eye of the beholder, as they used to say. I don't know if they still use that term or if it's a bit old, but I like to use that term. It's just because it's what you want or it fits your needs doesn't mean it's good for the bigger community or the brand or the business. Okay, right. So that's kind of how I approach everything. Again, I'm looking forward. Just really quickly, guys, just to talk about Thursday. I'm actually looking forward to the event. I mean, there's a little bit of, I'm not gonna lie, a little bit of nervous energy of some of the stuff that they're gonna say. But it's mostly positive for me. I'd say like 90% positive. I leave the 10% wiggle room just for the simple fact that if certain things happen, things that are mentioned and things like that, I don't think it's gonna be the world is falling apart level that a lot of people think it is, right? And why when the reason I say that is because some of the stuff that people have been saying about the event has been absolutely ridiculous. It goes counterculture it's counterintuitive to a lot of the stuff that Microsoft has actually been doing themselves. I'm not saying that there are not going to be changes. There might possibly be, but again, we don't know. So why don't we just wait till Thursday and see what those changes are, if any, right? Who knows what they're going to come out with, man? A lot of stuff that was being said about what's going to happen in the broadcast over the last couple of weeks, right? Because people are just running with it. And again, you guys got to keep in mind, there's a lot of people that just hate Xbox. There's a lot of people that hate Microsoft, right? There might be a lot more people that hate Microsoft after this announcement. But what I'm saying is they don't lack for their share of enemies, right? If you guys have been, this is why sometimes I question some people in our community that say that they're Xbox fans or that they bleed green, right? Because they're just not. If you say that you are, dude, you have to get thicker skin, man. You can't be as fragile as you are right now. And again, I understand from a consumer's perspective. I'll give you guys that. I'll give you. I'll even go as far as saying, this is you feel like you were lied to because this is not what you bought the console. But I see some people online talking about that, and they're being straight up about it, guys. This is not about whining or just wanting, like automatically they switch to another console. That doesn't make sense to me either. It's your choice to do that, but but I'm talking about people with legitimate reasons, like, oh, okay, well, I thought this game was going to be exclusive for a time because I think you'd have very exclusive, right? Like for me personally, this is why one of the reasons I don't care about Titanfall anymore because I came in with the Xbox One, and Titanfall was a big game for them, um, thinking not necessarily that it would be exclusive because the developers, well, in a sense, I was because I know the developers were talking about, actually taking on COD, and to do that, you have to go multiplayer. But because Microsoft helped them, right, and put them on blast and did what they needed to do, I even bought the collector's edition, guys, of Titanfall, had the statue and everything, right? And then lo and behold, right, a lot of the stuff I thought they were going to do with that original game. And it was funny because the community manager, I've talked about it on the channel before. Sorry if this is me repeating myself, but I have to get this story out. It's just the best correlation I can make with my mentality right now. Um, they actually had a person that worked in their company that was a community manager that would talk with the fans, and I was all in there talking to them like what I would love to see because I was absolutely blown away by Titanfall. I play a lot of shooters, guys, and that was the first game as a shooter that kind of changed my perspective on stuff. Like it really caught my attention. It really like it just hit me hard. It's just like if when you go to a movie not expecting much and then boom, out of left field, man, you end up loving that movie more than you thought you would. And that's what Titanfall was me from the get go, man. I was hyped. Man, I saw the commercials, I saw the trailer, and of course back then Microsoft was getting that type of hate, right? Not on the level over the years, but that's where I would see it, right? So I just pushed that to the side, ignored it because I was getting excited about the game. But when I first played the game, the first time I dropped into the middle of the battlefield, I was hooked. Dude, I played that game incessantly, dude. It was such a breath of fresh air, especially from a person like me who plays Halo and COD. Right, this is truly one of those games that really stood out and was like, wow, this could be a contender, can be that next level shooter that everybody was looking for, right? And that's what I thought they were going to do with Titanfall. And lo and behold, they kind of stepped away from that. A lot of the stuff that the fans requested never got. Obviously, the developers and we would see this happen time and time again to Microsoft. Is when Microsoft would help these people or fund them or go the extra mile be really business friendly with them, and they would get kind of stabbed in the back, right? And this is why in some aspects I agree with a lot of the people that are complaining, because it is a perception issue, right? It is a narrative thing when it comes to Xbox. Guys like myself understand that. Hebot's been preaching this for years. Mind share, he likes to use the term mind share, right? Because there is a thought, man. Because you have a generation of people, again, repeating myself, in the gaming industry and in gaming in general, and in the media, the three worst ones that grew up as PlayStation guys. They're a generation of PlayStation gamers, right? Even the non-gamers that are PlayStation, this is what they know, right? That's the type of brand that Sony was able to garnish, or loyalty that they're able to garnish with their brand. That's been giving Microsoft such a hard time, right? This is why all the time people all told me I was nuts, but for years I just been saying that I want Microsoft to step in, help Xbox, and just destroy Sony, just knock them out. Just don't give anybody a choice, right? Because I knew already. I know the type of fans that Sony have, right? Like it's kind of a thing that we talk about on all our channels, about how Sony fans really don't play their games, right? Um, and I kind of got exposed to that with Sega. Man, you have a lot of people right now that are sitting there trying to say, "Oh, it'll be okay if Microsoft goes third party." No, it won't be. It won't be, man. I'm telling you guys from the jump. Now, the only saving grace that Microsoft does have, if they do decide to go down this route, I'm not saying they are, guys. I'm just putting it out there. Is Microsoft has money, unlike Sega. Microsoft has money, right? I think there's going to be a lot of questions people are going to have. And again, this is why I'm doing this podcast, because what I'm going to do is a lot of the stuff that I'm thinking about. I'm not going to really say it here. A lot of the stuff that I'm thinking about right now, we'll talk about it on the Wrecking Crew podcast. We'll get everybody's thoughts out there. In fact, what I might do after the announcement, I might do a solo and then get a Wrecking Crew podcast, just so that everybody can get their bars in, as I like to say. Because I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to have some thoughts about it. Regardless of what happens, whether it's all good, partially good, all bad, whatever. Everybody's going to have comments, right? Because this stuff has been infesting the gaming media and has leaked over to pop culture media, which I find ironic. There is a lot of people I watch on the pop culture side that are talking about this. Now, their takes are absolute garbage, right? And I'll come in there and I'll tell them as much. Some people will say, "Oh, well, you're an Xbox," because you see what my gamer tag, my channel name is, right? I'm like, that's right. That's why I'm telling you guys this stuff, because you guys have no idea what you're talking about, right? Again, it's like I said in the podcast. It's that exercise. If you guys worked in an admin office or even in school, right, where you had a circle, you formed a circle of people, and then one person whispers into the other person's ear one sentence, and then they have to take that sentence and whisper it to the next person, and it carries on. It's usually about 30 people. And then it comes back around to the guy who originally started the sentence, and then it's a total different sentence than what he said. Not even close most of the time. Right? That's what you're dealing with. On top of all this other stuff that's going on. Again, Microsoft's saving grace right now is the fact that Xbox's saving grace right now is that Microsoft is backing them, right? And that's another thing I'm going to talk about. I'll give you a little preview, because I talked about this on the channel since last year. I think maybe the year before, but I was talking about it in reference to something else that we were talking that was going on in the gaming community, right? And it had to do with support, right? Microsoft actually supporting Xbox. And what I mentioned back then was because the whole talk for the last few years has been AAA first party exclusives, and you guys know how I feel about that. I've made my feelings known about that for the last couple of years, right? This is something that I was very passionate about, right? Because I just didn't see it adding up, right? So when this is in the height of when they were just pushing this, right? Because basically PlayStation guys didn't have anything else to talk about. Hey, what's up, Zing? Thanks for coming in, man. Just a really quick update. I'm gonna do a Wrecking Crew podcast, dude. Let me know if you want to be in it. I'm gonna do it on Friday night. I know you've been busy, and then I know the time difference is a beast. But if you want to be there, man, you're more than welcome to be there. I think we're gonna have a lot to talk about, given everything that's being said. Again, not buying into any of the rumors right now. Like I'm always been like that. This is the reason why I'm not stressing like other people, because I'm the type of person I gotta hear it from the horse's mouth. I gotta hear it directly from them, right? And then whatever they say or whatever happens, then I'll react to it accordingly. But until then, man, I don't, because a lot of the stuff, man, you see it as well, man, and I know you know this. I'm preaching to the choir here, but I mean, a lot of the stuff that's going on online is absolutely ridiculous, dude. It really shows you, again, like I said earlier in the podcast, just how fragile our community is. You see 100 now. He's like, I'm not part of the Xbox community. Unlimited dropped him. You know. Yeah, I was like, no worries, man. You're always welcome. I just think we just need to connect. Or I can have Sega Man send it to you. I have the full package of the of StreamYard, so I think I can get about 10 people in, maybe 11. But you know how the podcast is. It's the Wrecking Crew podcast, too. So people come in and out all the time. And then it'll probably be long. I'm not gonna lie, but you don't have to stay for the whole thing because I do want everybody to get their thoughts out there. Because I mean, it could be again, like say it's 100% positive news. That Xbox, some of the stuff that they're going to do 100% positive. People are going to talk about everything that's been going over other weeks, calling out the media. We're going to go there about. Maybe it's partially negative. We'll talk about that too. Still call it the media. Still call it the fake fanboys. If it's just 100% negative, people are going to want to share their opinion about that as well, right? Either way, dude, it's going to be a loaded podcast because people are going to have opinions. Because I see it now within the Xbox community now. People have certain opinions that others don't. And this is why they're saying it's this civil war going on right now within the Xbox community. But basically all it is disagreements. Right? And I would rather have that, to be honest with you, than the groupthink that's over on the PlayStation side. This is why they keep on getting screwed over by Sony. Right? Because those dudes are just totally all in on Sony and they focus on stuff other than Sony, like Xbox. Right? That envelopes their every waking energy, waking moment and all their energy. And I'm never gonna be like that, dude. I would prefer the drama we have on this side because to me it's minor. It's minor all the stuff we deal with, right? Like when I look at certain people and stuff like that, I just dissect people really situations and people really quickly. I'm like, okay, well you don't bleed green then. Okay, done. Right? Okay, I can understand that because they did say this. This is why you came on board. You only came in like a year ago, and you came in with the premise of what they said. And if they backtrack on that, I totally agree. Okay, that is you can sell your Xbox, you can play. You can stick with Xbox and complain. You have legitimate gripe. I have no problem with that. That's how I do it, bro. That's how I kind of dissect everything really quickly like that. I don't get caught up in all the drama. Because to me, there doesn't need to be this much drama. There's legitimate things that you could get upset about when it comes to Xbox, right? But given all the stuff that we've gotten from them over the last several years, how much change they've done, how much they've impacted the industry, right? How much they've influenced other companies to change their tune on certain things, right? How they're pushing the industry forward, how they've been the one to progress the industry, right? Thinking outside the box, services, customer support, all of this stuff, And the funny thing to me is they're doing all of this, and with a minimum casualty rate, very little casualty rate, but that's still not good enough for a lot of people. Because again, a lot of people are haters. This is why you need to watch the company you guys keep. If you're on the Xbox side, a lot of these guys are not Xbox. They don't have the company's best interest in heart. They don't have your best interest in heart, right? They don't even have their own interest in heart, which is to be consumer, to be a consumer of the product. If you can't be a fan, you don't have to be a fan. Like for me, like I said, for some of these guys jumping ship right now, and they're being ridiculous about it, and everything turns out okay. Maybe you find out that maybe Phil, Sarah, Pete come on there and he said, well, the reason we've been quiet is because we've been working diligently on the AKB deal. It's been a challenge. We've had to work with personnel. We've had to get our lineups in order. Adding them to the mix actually changed up our lineup order, and we do want to announce that we have this game coming out in Game Pass this month. What if that happens, right? We don't know. That's what I'm saying. It could be something just like that. And of course, everybody will react accordingly. But there's a lot of people that if Xbox does that, they won't be happy, dude, because they're not. A lot of people, man, in this community, I'm telling you guys, you got to watch the company you keep. A lot of these people are not gamers at all. Not only are they not Xbox fans or Xbox consumers, these guys are not gamers at all. So, like I said, if you jump ship, you come back. As long as you come back and you'll spike the console sales probably. You had to that 3% Microsoft talked about at the end of the fiscal year last year. But more importantly, dude, if you get into Game Pass, because that helps me. That services me and how I like the game, especially in the Microsoft ecosystem. Right. To be honest with you guys, man, I saw what happened with the Microsoft Game Pass. I actually like that. And my mind, of course, started going down a rabbit hole of how I think, If it's Microsoft Games, right, Phil's already there. He has the title. And then they just transitioned to that. And I don't look at it as necessarily bad, right? Because to me, it would have signaled maybe Microsoft is actually starting to move. They've already been looking at the bigger picture, starting to move on the bigger picture. Like looking at your Tencents and your, I forgot the name of the people in your Embracers, right? And I know Embracers got financial issues and stuff like that. Look, dude, anybody who's going to get a $2 billion funding, and then the investor pulls out there at the last minute, dude. I don't care who you are, dude. That's gonna hurt you, and that's what happened with them. And it's kind of unfortunate, man, because um, some of the plans they had could have been exciting for a lot of gamers. Another reason why it didn't bother me, they're kind of competition for Microsoft, but a lot of their companies is working with Microsoft and Game Pass. So, and I'm pretty sure we saw that grow. You see that again, like I've talked about this before. You see that with a lot of other studios doing that. Again, this is why one of the reasons why I'm not upset about certain things, because if Microsoft goes that dystopian route that a lot of people are talking about them doing, I don't see that. I just don't see them doing that because it doesn't make any sense to their business plan as a whole. A lot of the stuff that they do, bringing in day and date, working with all these contracts and stuff like that, it'll have to be like a serious contractual, like it'd have to be a total topsy turvy stuff, and I can't see Microsoft doing it. Not saying that they won't. I'm just saying that doesn't make sense to me. Again, reiterating what I said in my podcast the other week when I talked about this. Right, and that's kind of how I look at it. And like I said, guys, I mean, I'm excited somewhat about. I mean, I'm excited. I'm not gonna lie, because again, they're gonna clear up the air, right? They're gonna finally get everything out there, so people can finally decide to see what they're truly gonna do. And I think a lot of people are gonna be surprised with some of the stuff they talk about. This is just me thinking out loud, dude. I'm not saying I'm having an insider. I'm not saying this is just my personal opinion. Right? And again, I'll do a podcast, and we'll do a Wrecking Crew podcast. And the podcast for me to give my thoughts about it directly, and because I've said so many things, so much stuff about this, and then I'll just let you guys know how I'll adjust accordingly moving forward. I'll give you guys that common courtesy, right? Because I did two podcasts specifically about this, right? And I've talked about this in a more positive aspect. So I think I owe it to you guys to actually follow through on that, which I will. It's one of the reasons we're having the Working Crew podcast, because I have an open week this week. Last week it was last week was supposed to be my open week, and I didn't. So stuff happened, and I couldn't do. But I went ahead and did it anyway, right? So just because I've been trying to be consistent on the schedule. Since I have an open week again, this is why I'm doing this update to let you guys know if you guys want to join in on Friday. Please stay tuned. Thank you guys for all the participation too, man. I love the chat. Dude, the chat is awesome, right? And the people that come by, just like me doing this right now at this time of day, probably everybody's sleeping. Hopefully, this is something you can listen to tomorrow. And I hope you guys don't get your spirits down, man. There's really no reason to do that. Dude, there's really no reason to feel negative, man. I mean, with all things considered, man, you have an ecosystem that you can thrive in. I know I will be, regardless of what happens on Thursday. I've already seen some people talk about certain things that they were doing, people that I respect. I'm looking at that, I was like, yeah, dude, because I would do the same thing in some aspects. Right? If things don't work out, don't work out the way we think it is, or certain things happen, right? Again, I'm unlike everybody else. I'm happy that we got the big three in there, which is Sarah Bond, Phil Spencer, and Pete Hines. I'm not saying that it's going to be rainbow and butterflies or that's going to be absolute demolition, right? But what I am saying, if you're going to have the people to give this podcast, you want it to be the people that are actually on ground zero, right? Boots on the ground, and that's them. Right? It's interesting to me when I look at this. I'm like, dude, this is probably something that they just talked about behind the scenes amongst their business. Now, what happened, or what I hear is happening, the reason why this thing leaked is because there was an employee who didn't like what he was hearing, and then he put it out there, kind of as a beacon, right? They sounded the horn, started the bonfires to let those of us to bleed green, the green machine, to take action, right? But then on the flip side, right, I heard it was disgruntled employees. There's just a lot of stuff that is going on. So Thursday, man, Phil finally dropped the hammer. Um, it's gonna be good to see Sarah. I'm a huge Sarah Bond fan. I really love that lady. I think um, she encompasses. The reason I like her is just like how I talk about K dramas on my channel. Dude, it reminds me of a better time in entertainment. I'm talking about K dramas. Sarah Bonds reminds me of a better time in gaming. That excitement level that she has, right? The energy that she has. Yeah, because there was a time, man. People just used to be excited when they. I know I was, dude, as a kid. If I got like money somehow, right? I remember one time I was babysitting my cousin, and what happened was my auntie she came up, she gave me like $20. I was like, oh my gosh. And the reason why this is shocking, and I'm telling you this story because, as you guys know, man, I'm Polynesian, dude. We don't pay. It's natural for like the oldest kids to watch the youngest kids. But for my auntie, dude, I guess she felt like she knew like I didn't have a lot of stuff, and I didn't have a lot of money. You know, I mean, I didn't know. Look, dude, I'm not bemoaning my childhood, dude. I just didn't know. I wouldn't, how life really was for me, right? Which was good actually, right? But then she gave me $20, man, and my grandmother didn't say anything about it. I guess my grandmother was just happy, and I know my auntie gave it to me. She didn't have to give me anything. I just think she wanted me to have something, which I thought that was nice of her. I'll never forget her for that. First thing I did though, I jumped the fence because what happened was I lived in these apartments and I ran outside the apartment. I jumped the fence. There's a convenience store and gas station right next door, dude. Like right outside, right in the back. Right, I hit that fence. I jumped over it, ran inside, and I bought me a bunch of ding dongs. Because ding dongs back then was like a box was like man, it was like super cheap, and I had $20. I bought that whole box. I ate the whole thing. Then what I would do for my money is what I did with the rest of my money is I would just wait till I was able to go to the arcade, or I wait till the weekend. In fact, I did wait till that weekend, and I walked to the local arcade, and that was like 4 or 5 miles away. Yeah, dude, that's the type of town it was, man. It was crazy, but that's how hardcore of a gamer I was, man. And that type of energy, man, that type of sacrifice, right? That type of dedication. That's the energy I get from Sarah Bond. That's why I'm a huge fan of hers. Right? And she has no slouch, man. A lot of the stuff that she's been doing with the brand, which again, kudos to them. And of course, you guys know how I feel about Matt Hines. Or not Matt Hines, Pete Hines. No, what's his name? Matt Booty. Oh my gosh, I'm thinking of the dude from, what's his name? That left. That dude. Yeah, and cool dude. I feel for him, man. I just, again, I mean, a lot of people I know they're upset at him. I just feel bad for him just because I don't think he understood what it meant to be like to be Xbox on the Xbox team. But he found out the hard way. And his reaction to that, I don't think he liked it. And so he did what was best for him. Microsoft is amicable. But as far as Matt Booty, I'm sorry guys. As far as Matt Booty, man, I like that dude. Or thus far, right? For the stuff that he's been doing, the things he's been saying. Again, I told you guys I'm a scorched earth kind of guy. This is probably one of the. I'll just give you a quick little preview. It's probably one of the things I'm gonna not like from the stuff that's coming out Thursday. If it goes the way I think it is, I think one of the mistakes that Phil has done, and I talked about this multiple times. This is no hate on Phil, man. He's done a lot, done way more than most, right? And he did it with a smile, which is kudos and credit to him. But the one hit I'll have on him, dude, is he just should have ended Sony. He just should have ended him. He just should have. He should have made Xbox the dominant console. And if that means they could have destroyed Sony, they should have. I know we got the AKB deal and stuff like that, but that took 2 years, right? Sony's on their last breath, right? And so you're looking at a Microsoft that might be looking at just the numbers and looking at the profit, right? But again, my opinion, guys, you can disagree with me if you want, but had Phil knocked them out of the ball game years ago when he could have, we wouldn't be having this discussion, right? Because it would be a whole new playing field. It'd be a whole new playing field, man, and Xbox would be the dominant console. Xbox needs to be the dominant console, right? Because they're the only ones that's pushing this industry forward. In my opinion, most of it is great. Some bad, but you need that. You need that every once in a while. Right? People got to course correct, man. Nothing's ever going to be perfect. But they're pushing the envelope, pushing the technology, pushing the games, disrupting the industry, providing services, thinking outside the box, all of that stuff. I'm telling you, man, Sony can't, and they won't do that ever. This industry is gonna die if it was just Sony. There's a part of me that Again, this is just me thinking out loud. Don't take it with a grain of salt, man. But if like Sony was the only company, the only saving grace I would have about all that kind of stuff is the joy I'm going to have when this industry dies, right? And it'll die a painful death. Because this is what's the problem with everything that's going on right now. Dude, if this is an economic issue, the reason why we're going to have this podcast, and I'm thinking it's going to be business oriented. That's why they put the business in there, right? Because again, I don't think this is stuff that they would have talked about in public, right? Like a lot of the stuff we saw with AKB, and that's why I don't think they're. I don't necessarily think their plans are nefarious. Other people don't agree with me, and that's fine. In fact, you can see the reaction online. It's absolutely crazy, right? But again, like I told you guys, since Phil said they're going to come on and talk about it Thursday, good to have it on. I agree with other people too. Good to have it on their own podcast, right? Not going to Kind of Funny and all these other loser media sites that don't have your best interest in heart. And I would be fine with that if they actually have integrity as journalists, but they don't. Dude, because as soon as Phil leaves, regardless of what he says, they're going to chop it every which way sideways. So they're going to say whatever they want to say. So why give them the benefit of being on their show? And again, this is why guys like me, guys like Hebot, Sega Man, E-Rock, Unlimited, Tuck, Mr. 100, all of us, dude, Zinc, all of us guys in this community, man, we tell you guys, dude, just don't follow these dudes, man. There's no reason to, dude. You'll get no benefit out of it. It's like when I was younger, man. It's just how my grandma was like, you should be mindful of my friends because they'd be like, dude, they could, what do they do? It's just the company you keep is important. So and you get a lot of information from these guys, dude. So these dudes don't have no idea what they're talking about. Dude, talking about influencers and crap like that, dude. There's a select few people that I know that are close enough to the metal, man. If you guys were watching the podcast, Ebot shared something. Again, out of respect to Hebot, I won't repeat that. I won't say what it is. But there's very few people I can count on one finger, right? Well, maybe two fingers. But even then, man, you gotta hear it from the horse's mouth, man. You gotta get the real scoop, man. That's how I've always been. I trust but verify. Look at it from a perspective of, what is the reasoning behind this? Why are these people worried about it? I'm talking about the Sony side. Why are the gaming journals only talking about this from one perspective? Why are the journalists talking about this when it's rumors? And just a couple weeks ago, they said that you shouldn't be peddling in rumors, and they're going all in on this. Right? Credibility is a lost trait in this day and age. Again, so why would you listen to any of these people? I have no idea. And I'm not saying this so that you guys will come here and listen to me. I can't even listen to my own podcast. I think my voice is cringe and stuff like that, but I'm doing this because at least if somebody can come along and listen and understand what's really going on in this industry, that's why I do this podcast, right? That's the main reason why I do this podcast. It's because of all the drama and stuff like that goes on in this community and all the truth that's never told, especially by the industries that's supposed to be doing that. Of course, you should never trust corporations, right? Or trust but verified corporations. But the media is a different story. They should be keeping in this case, the gamers' best interest at hand, or the consumer's best interest, right? Ahead of their own clicks, their own views, whatever backdoor stuff they do, whatever personal biases they have, right? It's amazing that these guys have gone full bore on this kind of stuff. I mean, it's not surprising, but it's amazing how all in they are. That's how much they believe that this is going to be something bad. So for me personally, I'm looking on the positive side just because I want to see all this stuff blow up in their face. Because there's the one positive thing that's coming out of all of this is people's eyes are beginning to open to how the gaming media, and not just the gaming, the media in general, guys. If you want to know the truth, you're gonna have to hunt it yourself. If you want to know the truth, you're gonna have to check your own biases. If you want to know the truth, man, you're gonna have to put some time into it, researching stuff. Right? It's not gonna be just surface level. This is why I have a certain political bent. This is why I believe certain things about faith and religion, right? This is why I have certain feelings on economics, on how kids should be raised, all of that stuff, right? And again, that's what I said on the podcast when we were talking about all the issues that's going on in this community, right? Whether people are turning their back on Xbox or whatever. Dude. I already know who I am. I already know what I like. I already know how my response is going to be, whatever way this cuts. Right? Like again, guys, there's some harsh stuff going on in the world right now, dude. Like, just like again with that 1,900 people laid off. If you just open up Bing right now and just say layoffs, dude, it's across the board. How many companies are laying off stuff? And again, I've been telling you guys, I share those videos on my channel for a reason, so people can look at China and what's going on over there, dude. It is absolutely pandemonium over in China right now, right? I mean, the absolute failure of their economic system right now. Dude, again, like I said in my previous podcast, dude, they're going to lose a generation. They're going to have a lost generation if this continues, and it's going fast. I can't see how they're going to reverse this. The economic downfall, and it's all tied into everything that's been going on politically. It's tied into everything that's been going on that you would expect in a communist country that pretends to be capitalistic. And then I come on to you got all this stuff going on, dude. You got people committing suicide. You got people fleeing the country, trying to cross our border now. If you guys didn't watch the news, you see all these people trying to come over from China, man. And if you just China Observer, man, just go watch a few of their videos. Go watch those videos, and you see why there's an influx at our border. Because there's no jobs, man. People got no money. What they called over the last couple of decades, man, they called what happened in China the Chinese miracle, dude. I'll say in the last couple of years, man, all of that stuff that took decades to build in like just 1 or 2 years is totally reversing in real time as we speak and at breakneck speed. It's just like if you had a number one draft choice, right, who was a 5-star in high school, signed with a USC or one of these big league colleges, drafted first round, top 10, goes into the NFL and is a total bust. That's the Chinese economy right now, dude. Right? That rise and absolute fall. That's what's going on right now. And then I come into the gaming space and everybody's crying about 1,900 jobs, which again is bad, dude. I feel for those people. Been there myself, right? But the lack of perspective about what's really going on in the world and gaming, and that's a great thing, right? Because what gaming is, like I say about everything else on my show in pop culture, it's escapism at its truest form, right? You or at least in my case, when I was growing up, you got into these worlds, you got into these cultures, right? You got into these hobbies to escape the reality of the real world, man. This is how you depress. Some people do as people. Somebody might go to a driving range, hit some balls. Somebody might grab their basketball, go to the park, shoot some hoops, right? Some people might go plant some flowers, do some farming, go like in Hawaii, everybody's there surfing, fishing, playing volleyball, stuff like that, right? Whatever to decompress, or something to take your mind off stuff, right? And that's all that gaming was, man, or pop culture in general, just being a geek and a nerd. You'd occupy the spaces, man, and you enjoyed it. Right? And that's how it was, dude, for the longest time. But now, you have people that are in these spaces that, like for me personally, some of the stuff I talk about, dude, I have a natural interest in it. This is why I keep up with it. But the majority of the people don't care about this kind of stuff, right? But unfortunately, then people want to give their opinions that don't care. Do a little bit of research, man. Educate yourself a little bit, see what's really going on, and then you won't fall for all this stuff like people are saying about Microsoft, which again, $3 trillion. Like to me, this could be a whole nother, and this is another thing I said prior to this. This could be another, what's the name of the thing that they did? Mixer situation, right? Funneling all that money, they're paying that dude all that money, and then seeing that the returns wasn't what they wanted, and they're like, okay, we're bombs, right? That's the level where Microsoft operates. That's how they look at it. Again, I don't see that with Xbox because Xbox, it just surpassed Windows, right? What I'm looking at this possibly could be is that too many hands in the cookie jar. It's just like if you go back and again, go watch that Power On documentary when the Xbox team of Seamus Blackley them wanted to do the Xbox and they were going against the the what was it, the operating system team, right? There's a really good piece in that video, right? And they're bumping heads, right? Because they have two different visions. They're possibly. I'm just speculating, guys. I'm not saying this is happening, right? But just trying to make a point. Like if there's, it's just to me, I believe there's more something like that going on at Microsoft than any other thing, you know, that people are saying. Because a lot of times the people that are saying that, right, they want to prove their own things. There's a lot of people have been saying a lot of stuff for a long time, proving wrong for the last 4 or 5 years. Every little thing they said. Now, if this comes, now they see this. That's why they're jumping on it because they never let that stuff go because they hate Microsoft. Dude. They hate Xbox, is what they do. They hate Xbox. They want the console to go away, right? This is why they're like that. Which again, is why I don't lose my mind because I understand how they are. Right? But if it's one of these situations when you could be having, um, it's basically business 101 where this one faction of the company feels like this is the right way to go, and the other faction is like no, And like I'll put this out there right now because I talk about this all the time. I am more of a numbers guy. I respect the business aspect of it. If you guys hear me talk about Disney Marvel, dude, I definitely think they should be following that game plan. In this case, it's a slightly different, right? Because you could be looking at the numbers, but the people that are looking at the numbers on the number size, successful as they are, the trust that they have with the company, the shareholders, or all this kind of stuff that could be happening, right? The problem with them when I look at them is they don't understand the culture, and that's a big thing of what's going on right now with Xbox. Right? We have a certain culture here, a culture that Phil and crew is trying to that they've created, and they're trying to grow it, right? And then when you have just numbers guys coming in, or people just looking at the profit margins and stuff like that, that's where you have that clash. If that's all true, and that's just my personal, that's maybe, and that's also personal experience. It's weird because the stuff that's happening on Disney Marvel side and Star Wars, they need that over there. They need somebody to come in and say, "Hey, that's it. We're done. We're done losing money. We're done pushing agendas. We're done killing our brand. We're done down, speaking down to our customers, treating our customers like trash. Right? We're gonna revamp. You're all fired. Get these clowns out because they don't know what they're doing, or they know what they're doing, but it's negative, and it's killing the business. It's killing the brand. It's killing everything. Right? They actually need that at Disney right now for both the Star Wars and the Marvel franchises. Well, actually, all their stuff, animation across the board, all that stuff. Right? They need that right now. On the Microsoft side, what they need is they need to listen to Phil and his crew. If everything from what I hear is going on. Again, and the reason I'm talking about that, because if that's true, that's how I would tend to look at it, that it's more like in that situation. Could be wrong. I take everything what I say with a grain of salt. Right? I got get your popcorn ready. I got my popcorn ready. On Thursday, everything's gonna be laid bare. And then Thursday, I'll do a video on Thursday, give my thoughts, and then Friday we'll do the wrecking crew. And in the wrecking crew, everybody can jump in and just have at it. Because it's going to be, regardless of what news we get, dude, it's going to be discussed ad nauseum. Again, you're going to have a thick skin if you want to bleed green. That's why a lot of you guys don't. That's why you guys jump ship a long time ago or jumping ship now. It's not easy being on this side, man. You got to be strong, dude. Everything from an Xbox perspective is only negative all the time. Other companies get away with stuff. Microsoft will never do that. For those of you guys who ask me, it's just like, oh, how can you handle this? Because some people, they burn out. Dude, I thrive on these kind of things, dude. I double down, I triple down, I quadruple down, right? Because if I truly didn't want to be involved in this ecosystem, dude, I would just walk away. I would have walked away. I do that now with Disney Marvel, Disney Star Wars, dude. I don't care. Right? Apathy is at 100% that I set in. And then I still watch people that talk about it. I keep up with it. Right? And then a lot of the guys I follow them not because they're giving me the news or we agree doctrinally or we agree culturally, right? Or we agree on principle. Right? A lot of those dudes are entertaining as well. I have to watch people that are entertaining. That's why I know some of you guys like maybe don't like what Zobi was saying on the podcast, but Zobi is entertaining, dude. And to me, he's always been honest. Again, I'm not going to agree with everything he says, right? There's very few people that are like that in this world nowadays. I shouldn't say in this world. That's sorry. It's too broad. At least in this community. At least in gaming, definitely. Right? Maybe this is all one big psyop like I talked about before. Maybe it's just something that Microsoft is doing just so they can introduce a $29.99 tier for Game Pass. That will include EA Sports, possibly World of Warcraft. Right? That's the sad. This is one of the sad things. This is one of the things that will upset me if all of this is about nothing, much ado about nothing, right? Is that they have to like maybe there were some surprises down the road for Xbox fans like us that they're gonna have to put out now, and we won't have that for later on. Like you think about it, oh, that would have been a great surprise. Had people not lost their minds, had the media not lied, had the influencers not lied, had all the clickbaiters not lied. Dude, you have people like Asmongold now talking about this, and he talks about gaming to some extent, but a lot of these people they're outside of their wheelhouse, dude. Nothing against it. There's like this one dude I watch. I watch him for strictly pop culture stuff, man. I follow him because he talks about Marvel, Star Wars, the Civil War that was going on. In fact, a couple of people did it. The Civil War that was going within Star Wars, Lucasfilm, and the Favreau camp that was trying to put up stuff, like Mandalorian versus all the other trash that they were making, right? And there was like, dude, there was like all kind of stuff. Like I said on this channel, man, before the drama that was going on behind the scenes was more entertaining than the stuff they was putting out. Right. So from that's my perspective. Right. And then we'll see. We'll see. That's the best thing I can tell you. Well, guys, I've been ranting for over an hour. Like I said, this is just a channel update. I know it's an off time, but if you guys watch this video, man, comment, dude. I'll respond. But I think we have a lot like, we have a lot that to look forward to for Thursday, and then of course to discuss afterwards. Okay. So like I said, get your popcorn ready, man. Keep the faith, dude, a little bit, guys. You guys, I know I'm preaching to the choir to the guys that are in my that follow me, that follow the crew and stuff like that. But I've been seeing some cracks in the armor in some guys on social media. Um, like some of the stuff that I've been saying, dude, I've been kind of flipping about, just been trolling, being a little bit funny, right? Because in the end of the day, dude, you can't really do anything until the stuff is said, right? So to bring some kind of levity to what a lot of people are thinking, or how people are kind of like, kind of depressed about it. Don't, dude. It's not worth that, guys. It's not. Microsoft will be fine. Right? They have a lot of money. But again, I understand, dude. Like if you bleed green and you're all in, man, you want Xbox to be Xbox. You want Microsoft to dominate, like I do. Right? You want them to carpet bomb Sony and knock them out of the console industry. That'll be one of the greatest days, man. I'm not gonna lie. When Sony dies, I'm gonna be there day one. No matter what happens, man. Yeah, 50 years from now, and I'll be in a wheelchair. I'll still roll up on here, talking about the good old days and how I waited for this day to happen. Dude, Sony's trash, you guys. They're trash. Their fan base is absolute losers and toxic pieces of trash. They're really trash because they make me use the word toxic. I hate using that word, but it's apropos to them. I mean, they are what they are. They show themselves every day to be that way. They're across the board too. A lot of them are hypocritical. A lot of them are toxic. Right? They'll sit there and try and play both sides and talk out of their both sides of their mouths. They're just evil, man. They're just I just can't stand their fan base. That'll be the greatest day for me when their console dies and all their games go away, or if they get bought out by somebody, and then I'll just be there making fun of them because they deserve it because they're absolutely evil. They're the most hateful people in any fandom that I've come across ever. And if you guys know me, man, I don't use that lightly. So the day that they're gone and Sony's gone from the industry is a better day. That's again why I wanted Microsoft to just come in when they start throwing their weight behind, right? And wreak havoc, man. Wreak havoc on these dudes, man. You push them, dude. Wield your power, man. You got the gauntlet, man. Snap that finger, dude. Make it so, right? Take these dudes out because they're just keeping us. They're holding us back. They're dragging us down. That's what I wanted to see. And then in some instances, okay, before I bolt, I'll give you guys a little bit of this. Just thinking out loud, right? Who's to say Microsoft's plan is not to, like, say they go third party, and then they want to get their one of the reasons why they do that is to get the FTC off their back, and they just start buying everybody. Or making all these ridiculous deals, like locking down GTA, buying GTA or buying Take Two, or buying GTA, or just locking it down for 20 years, exclusive. Right? What if that's their goal? What if they start doing that? What if they don't leave any options for anybody? That's pretty Machiavellian in my opinion. I was talking about that on Twitter. I would love to see that. That would be absolutely like Sith level, You have your Jedi, but this would be absolutely Sith level if Microsoft was to do that. I'm not saying they are, guys. I'm just thinking out loud. Like I said, all of this stuff that's been going on. One of the ways that I think that would help you, man, is just thinking abstracts. If this stuff is bothering you so much, like I said, that's just the way I am. I tend to do that. Thinking outside the box, think outside the ordinary, right? Starting following rabbit holes, running patterns, running scenarios. That's what I like to do. That's why sometimes people will be like, "Wow, what's this doing on Xbox?" I haven't seen him on Twitter. It's probably what I'm doing. If I'm not watching anime, K dramas, or entertaining myself with the the 20 or 30, I think I had 30 TV shows that I have that I could watch from back in the day when TV was still entertaining. Um, oh, and speaking of, I'm glad I mentioned that. I know I'm kind of rambling on at this point, guys. We'll do it for 60. We'll do it at even 60 because there is something I do want to talk about. I want to do more pop culture stuff. I know I keep on saying this, but we're definitely going to do it. It looks like I'll be getting involved with wrestling again. Wrestling, I've been out of it for a long time. The only reason I've kind of kept into it is when I reminisce about the good old days. Follow people on Twitter, follow people online, and talk about wrestling. Watch the old matches. Right, one of my favorite Royal Rumbles, I believe, was four. That's not old, but Royal Rumble before when they had that big thing, when Hogan and Andre were enemies, and $1 Million Man stepped in, and they had this big tournament that they came up with, like this bracket, and everybody wrestled everybody to get to the championship division, which you kind of know it was going to be, right? But one of the great things about um, that WrestleMania 4 was just some of the matchups, dude. It was like, to me, it was absolutely amazing. I believe you had like One Man Gang versus Bam Bam Bigelow, Butch the Natural Reed versus Don the Rock Morocco. Who else was that there, dude? I'm dating myself. Man, I just remember watching every single one of those matches and just couldn't believe what was going on. And it all came into crescendo to that final championship match. That whole storyline with the $1 Million Man was awesome. So I'm a huge fan of Ted DiBiase, man. I remember from back in the day, a lot of these guys, if you didn't know, man, they're old school wrestlers as well. When they're but the zenith of when a lot of people remember them from the 80s, WWF, that generation, the rock and wrestling generation, and of course NWA was doing their own thing. But that's the kind of stuff that I'm gonna start talking about again, guys. I was thinking about dabbling into sports, but I don't watch sports anymore, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't even watch the Super Bowl. I played Power World. Dude, one of the reasons why I cut my cable a long time ago, so and I didn't want to pay a subscription service. To me, it didn't worth the money. In fact, I'm cutting some of my subscription services now that I forgot I had. I didn't know. I forgot to subscribe to Apple Music. The thing ran out. Excuse me. It's attached to my phone service, but I noticed on my thing I got a bill. And when I looked at it, I was like, "Oh man, I forgot to shut that off." So that's what I'm basically gonna be doing all week. So I'm quite occupied, man. That's another thing too, man. Keep you guys busy. Keep yourselves busy. Keep yourselves occupied, right? The world just doesn't revolve around gaming, right? And I know I sound like some old dude trying to give sage advice. That's not my point. I'm just telling you, man. It works for me. That's the best I can say. I'll use myself as an example. It works for me. Don't get caught up in all this stuff, man. Like I said earlier, 100 and unlimited, man. They cut the ties, dude. They're no longer. Given what's given, depending on what happens Thursday, man, I'll be right. I might have to join them. I'm not gonna give up on Xbox by no stretch, but I'm telling you guys right now, I will. Sometimes you got to make behavioral changes. Sometimes you got to do reorgs, as that is popular right now. We can do self reorganizations for ourselves, like where we're gonna spend our money, how we spend our time, all that kind of stuff too. Look, dude, life is full of choices, man, and Microsoft definitely is gonna make some choices. Are making some choices, and they're gonna talk about it on Thursday. So as I always say to people, man, adjust yourself accordingly. Right? That's the best thing you can do. That's the more productive thing. If you have to throw a tantrum, man, as long as it doesn't last for, as long as they don't let it destroy you, man, or ruin, steal your joy, man. I mean, there's more to life than a lot of the stuff that we enjoy doing. In fact, that's the funny thing about it, because it's supposed to bring enjoyment, and anymore when you look at people when they play games, all they seem to be is unhappy and hateful. And there's reasons behind it, like I talked about in this podcast, that people just hate particular brands, right? Especially Xbox. Xbox is probably the most hated console out there. And again, this is why. Hopefully, Microsoft realizes that, and they're like, "Look, dude, you have to take no prisoners," because that's the best way to assure themselves console dominance, man. If they won't like you, dude, at least let them. What was that saying? It was like, if you can't make them like you, then make them fear you. That's the best advice I give for Microsoft. dude, you might as well take over. Right? Knock Sony out of the picture, then people won't have any choice. Just keep on doing the things that you're doing now. Right? You do that, and people come on board, and they get past all the smoke and mirrors, all the hate, all the subterfuge, right? All the false narratives, and they start playing it, dude. This is how you turn people. Like how people jumped on board when Starfield came out. This is why your console sales went up. It's never totally gonna go away, right? But this is how you. This is what you do, man. This is how you. This is how you build a brand. And you guys have been around for a long time, man. But you have not reached your full potential, dude. I'm telling you guys. Do what you need to do. Knock these dudes out. Then you can. Then you can navigate more clearly the things you're gonna do. Right? Because I think the vision that you guys have, right, is the best vision for gaming moving forward, dude. Consumer friendly, developer friendly, business friendly, right? Community friendly. I know. Look, I disagree with some of the fruity stuff you guys do when it comes to DEI and all that crap and wokeness and stuff like that. But at least you're not shoving it down my throat. At least you allow people to be themselves within the guidelines. So kudos to you for that. Right? Disney could have learned a thing or two from you guys when it comes to that kind of stuff, right? Because again, like anything else, when I watch anime, like I bought that anime off the Xbox store because I thought it was a certain way. My daughter knew it was bad, but I was like, no, just let me watch it, and I watched it, and she was right. Right? So that was $4.99 down the drain. Not too bad. Right? But that's what I mean. Am I going to write scathing reviews? I just walk away. I was like, okay, well, better luck next time, dude. That one didn't work out for me, but the 10 other ones I bought were fine. Right? So at least you give me that option. Right? Allow me to choose what I want to consume, what I don't want to consume. I'm not pigeonholed to that kind of stuff. I mean, you guys lay it on pretty thick. I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty sure if I did my, if I start driving, if I'd have my monthly, Bible sermons, you guys wouldn't like that, right? Just saying, right? Fair play. Right? Like everybody's like, it's like with that Super Bowl commercial, man. Like he knows us. The whole that I don't know if you guys saw the commercial. It's supposed to be a Christian commercial. I mean, for me, I looked at it, I thought blasphemous, because it means well, right? But like everything else, it means well. When it comes to things like that, especially when you're talking about Jesus, the Son of God, right? You got to go a little bit more deeper than that. Just saying. But anyway, my point is, right, if I all of a sudden turn this into, broke out my Bible, started reading scripture to you, right, having some sermons, talking about why certain things are evil, what's the result of those things, how it can turn out for you in the end, right? Probably wouldn't like that, dude. Nobody will watch the podcast. Except believers, but I'm supposed to be a gaming podcast, so why would they even be? And you don't have to worry about me doing that because I do believe in treasuring the word of God beyond that level, right? That's why I wouldn't do that. Not because I'm scared or I don't want to share the word, but time and place for it. I do mix it up on my social media just to let everybody know how I am. I leave no bones about it, right? So that you're getting 100% who I am. It's not mixed messaging or I'm trying to appear something that I'm not. You basically, especially on Twitter, you're getting a look into the things that I believe, like my politics, my faith, gaming, pop culture, all of that stuff. If you're a comic book guy, I'm Marvel. If you're into comics or the universes and stuff like that, I'm Marvel. You guys know I'm a Disney fan by the stuff I share. Right? You guys got an idea of where my politics lie? Mostly on the red side, right? Yeah, on the conservative side. I will say this, though. So a lot of people ask me if I got red pill. What red pill mean? I've never been red pill, dude. I've always been like this. It's just like that scene in The Matrix, man. When Neo asked them when they was woken up, when they took the red pill, and then the brother was like, "Nope, born in there was we 100% born and raised in Zion." Right, the two brothers, because they're from the people that didn't get jacked up and then jacked into the machine, dude. They were actually human beings born. So I've always been this way, dude. This is why, again, I tell you guys when it comes to this stuff, I believe what I believe. I know what I know, and I believe what I believe, and I never change. It's very rare that I'll change. And if you guys don't like that, dude, I mean, I've had some people step away, and that's fine. 100%, man. No harm, no foul. You guys do you. Be who you are, right? This is, again, with all the stuff that goes on, man. I don't care what console you play, what games you play. You just step correct when you come to me. right? Like that's the problem I have with most people. Don't care, man, but they come to these podcasts, they come to our spaces, right? They talk trash on social media, which I just ignore. I would just walk away and ignore it, right? But then they come into our areas, man. They make their comments and stuff like that, dude. Nah, I don't deal like that, dude. I shut them down because most of these people are ignorant. Most of these guys are not gamers. That's the main thing. If you take away from anything I say, these guys are not gamers, man. Gamers love games, right? Gamers love games. So if you're on the Xbox system, you have a ton of games that you like. If you're on the PlayStation system and you like those games, okay, fine, right? Enjoy those games. You're on Nintendo, enjoy your Nintendo games. I have kids, man. They play a bunch of them. My son loves Fortnite. He's always playing with his friends. My daughter's a little bit more varied in her taste, but she loves Pokemon. She has a Switch. Right? My son, you guys know how I feel about Marvel phases 4, 5, and whatever. I don't even know where we are now. 4 and 5, absolute trash. Son comes to me, says, "Hey, Dad, can we go watch Doctor Strange?" When he shoots, because he saw Spider Man, and then Spider Man was going to be in Doctor Strange. He just wanted to go watch it. Oh no, was it Spider Man? No, Doctor Strange was in Spider Man. So then my son was excited about Doctor Strange. We loved the first movie. I love the first Doctor Strange. I don't know. And then we went to watch that movie. I don't know what they were thinking, right? But did I sit there complain or say anything to my son? No, I sat there, enjoyed it with him, man, because he was enjoying it. Kind of. There's some things he looked at. He's like, question. At the end, we talked, and he's like, "Oh, that was." That didn't make any sense. We talked about. But I'm not gonna, stuff that down. I'm not gonna be like, "Nah, that stuff's trash." We're not going to it. Spend your own money. No, dude. Why would you do that? Right. So that's what I'm talking about, dude. That's that respect level, or that decency, man. That gentlemanness, right? All that stuff's out the window in the gaming community, right? And this is why, man. I have a no holds barred attitude when it comes to PlayStation. These guys don't care, man. They don't care about you. They don't care about the console. They don't care about the industry, which is even more sad. Right? A lot of these people are selfish. It's just a talking point. You know, if you think that Microsoft games going over to the other consoles is a good idea, man, these guys are not going to buy your games. What you will get from them is a bunch of hate on social media. Again, man, if you got thin skin or if you're fragile and you're on the Xbox side, dude, it might be a good idea to get off social media or just close your account because it's going to be brutal, man. It is going to be brutal. Again, I come from the 2013 era. It'll be just like breathing for me, and I'm gonna have fun with it, man. I'll go. I don't care, dude. I'm numb. I'm numb at this point to these dudes. These dudes can't tell me anything. They're stupid. They're ignorant. They're hypocritical. That's the thing that pisses me the most about Sony guys. How they'll call out Xbox on stuff, but they won't call out Sony, even though they get it worse in some cases, right? And that's how you realize, man, they're a bunch of liars. They don't care about the games, dude. They'll celebrate it just because they can use it as a weapon. There's some people that would probably play the game, right, or buy the game. Maybe the casual person that did buy a PS4 or PS5 maybe doesn't have the money to buy an Xbox, or made a choice. Maybe they like Final Fantasy too much. Yeah, those guys, right? But then the majority of the dudes, man, they're just gonna pour it on, dude. I'm telling you guys right now, dude. If it's the worst case scenario, these dudes will be all over you, man. They're just gonna be all over you on social media, man. It's gonna be nonstop. They they have no chill, man. These guys are just they're gonna be bringing it, right? Maybe go play Power World if you want. That's why I said I forgot who it was. Was it Peter Oval? There's one of these dudes that no hate, dude. I'm just saying they're talking about because these people are pushing, and this is how you know. Like I said in a podcast a couple of days ago, this is how you know all this stuff's a bad idea because the people that are pushing for it, right, are idiots. The gaming media, and they have biases and stuff like that, right? The ponies, right? Even Nintendo guys are starting to talk up. They should just keep the trap shut. I'll be honest with you. Nintendo guys are starting to get on my nerve. Real talk, dude. You guys are not even in this equation. As far as I'm concerned, I don't care how many stuff the Switch is sold. Dude, the most popular games can be played on that console. This is why you guys only have a niche market, a certain part of the gaming, and that's fine, dude. You do your thing, man. But if you guys start stepping out, man, start talking trash, you'll get it. Just like the ponies. I'm usually cool with you guys, man, because the majority of the problems I have with people that are supposed Nintendo fans are actually PlayStation fans that have a Switch. And some of you dudes, man, you be chirping now. You just put your head down. Real talk. Put your guys' head down, Nintendo fans. I'll go scorched earth on you guys, man. Like rumors of pedophilia, stuff like that. Just saying, if you guys want to go down that route, dude, it's gonna get barbaric, man. You guys just should stick to. Didn't a new Mario game or something come out, or defend the kingdom against Pal World for some odd reason, which is nothing. It has some similarities to Pokemon, which is a totally different experience. Dude, I just see my daughter play Pokemon, and she plays Power World now, and she's like, no, it's not even the same thing. There's stuff you do in Power World that you would never get in a Pokemon game. That's what sets them apart, man. Enjoy your game, stay in your space, man. I'm telling you guys. Just enjoy your success and where you are. That's all I'm saying. Right? As I'm saying, if things go south, dude, it's on. War's on. War's back on. Console war. Dude, the treaty's been broken. The line's been crossed. Gotta start moving stuff around. I don't even care. Like, I know, like, dude, I love Phil, man. But I know Phil would be like, oh, we shouldn't have been. No, sorry, Phil. You had your piece. You had your say. Time, basically, don't tell me what to do. I'll do what I want to do. It's on like Donkey Kong. And I think it might be good, man. I'm not going to lie, dude. I'm not saying I'm wishing any bad stuff, dude. But some of you dudes, man, it's just like what's going on in the world right now. Yeah, there you go, Zink. It's on, brother. Yeah, we going back 2013 style. Dude, I'm gonna go back Sega style back in the day. When I was warring with these ponies. We didn't call them ponies back then, we just call them pricks. Bunch of dude bros. Yeah, but Zink says war 100%, man. But we gotta amass the troops and stuff like that. I know some of you guys will be out, man. It'll be too much for you guys. Right? And I don't blame you, man. It is. I mean, if you think about it, it is ridiculous. Me talking about it is ridiculous, but yeah, it is what it is. That's how the cookie crumbles, man. But like I said, man, I think some of you guys need this, man. Just like, again, what's going on in the world, man. Some of y'all, I was going to say not to get political, but we'll get political a little bit. Right? Some of y'all voted for a certain person. Might be going into World War III. I watched these great videos on the youth vote. And it was great because this is like 3 years ago. And it was amazing. And the reason why these videos are popping back up on YouTube, with the algorithm and stuff like that, is because of the certain demographics that are switching sides to who they're going to vote for in the upcoming election. I won't get too deep in these guys. I'm just trying to prove a point. But like 2-3 years ago, when in the midterms, there's like the news is predicting this red wave because of the way, that was their opinion on stuff that was going to happen. One of the things I found interesting, though, there was a movement in the youth vote. Right? And so the youth vote came out in droves. And that kind of quelled the supposed, the red wave that was supposed to come. But because of this demographic showed up, and they showed up in mass numbers, and they voted the way that they voted, dude, it nullified all of that. Which, for me personally, politically, I didn't care for. But as far as, like I said, I like to watch the machinations guy, and I thought that was amazing how they mobilized. Right? It almost gave me like hope for the future, because I'm like, I don't think that their energy was positive or it was good overall, especially for the country. But what it did give me hope was that these guys, when they put their mind to it, right? When a generation of people can put their mind to something, it can actually affect change. Right? Now, fast forward to now, we know we got some stuff going on in the world, right? Some things that are happening as we speak, possibly waking up tomorrow, with Armageddon kicking off in different parts of the world, right? And the one thing I find hilarious about that is the people that voted the way that they voted in the midterms to help solidify a certain party and a certain administration's power. That stuff is coming back around now. I tell you guys, man, look, elections have consequences, man. Choices have consequences, and it's boomerang back around. So a lot of those people that made those moves, dude, they're within a certain age that fills a certain type of requirement, and that requirement is military service. So what's my point in all this, man? I kind of think sometimes, like, look ahead, don't be emotional, right? All the stuff that's going on in the Xbox community, keep a calm head. It'd be better if you did that so you can again, plan accordingly, right? Kind of see the field, see it a little bit more clear. Because this is you spend time and you spend money, dude. I mean, if you're like me, dude, we spend a lot of money in the Xbox ecosystem, dude. A lot of money. So you gotta look at it soberly, right? Like for me, it's just like I just can't drop Xbox, right? I got like 700 games, maybe more. I have so many games on the system. I actually like Game Pass, right? But what you can do is you can change your output or your input, however you want to look at it, right? One of the silver linings about Sega when they went, the only silver lining for me when Sega went away out of the hardware business, and I knew I was devastated and stuff like that. But the one saving grace was not having to deal with the console war at that time. You're a veteran now, dude. You can just walk away and enjoy gaming, and I had no allegiances, dude. This is why another reason why. I mean, look, dude, I'm a fan of Microsoft. I believe green. I love Microsoft, right? I love my Xbox. One of the reasons I love my Xbox, dude, is because that's it. This is it for me. It gives me everything I want as a gamer. It reminds me of when a time of when I gamed the way back in the day, man. I'm doing that now through Game Pass, through these ID at Xbox program, through the third parties that are coming on there, games that probably wouldn't have gotten a chance, games that would have just had been one and done, right? Because of Game Pass and the Xbox ecosystem, Microsoft ecosystem, man, I'm getting variety. I'm getting the most gaming I've gotten in my life in a long time, and that's straight up 100%. I can go up there, right? I can go upstairs right now and just a litany of different types of games across every genre, every length. Yeah, I could get into a JRPG that takes 80 hours. I can just get into a fighting game that's just plug and play, shooter that's just plug and play. Dude, I can play Power World and just lose myself in its world, just doing stupid stuff like setting making iron ingots. Well, actually, I got my workers there for that, and I treat them good, guys. I'm not one of these evil guys. I treat them good. I respect my workers. Right? They don't have to form no union on my farm. They're all taken care of, dude. It's not like Animal Farm either, man. They all good. Make sure they're fed. Always check up on them, dude. Pat them. Tell them they're doing a good job, which they are, man. I have a cat, and she farms just coins, man. So she gives me a bunch of coins. And I have another. I have a cow that gives me milk, dude. Can make pancakes. Yeah, it's cool, man. I'm finally getting into the nitty gritty of the game, and then I got my first big pal, which is going to help me later on in the game. I got a couple of the minor pals, which is cool, like the big cat. I got a big cat. I got a big chicken. So I put them on the farm. They just look cool, right? So the deeper you get into this game, it's kind of like Starfield. The deeper you get into the game, the more layers there is that you find. This is why I don't like. Again, I told you guys before, I don't listen to all the hate on Starfield because when I see people write some of the stuff they're writing, dude, I know they don't play these games. Just being 100%, right? So anyway, dude, like I said, maybe that's what they need. Maybe that's what people needed for a wake up call. For Microsoft to go through some hard times. You know? Like I was like, dude, imagine if like people are saying, if Sony takes over, dude, I'd be laughing. The problem with that is though, is like a lot of Sony's fans, they don't play games. I'm telling you, the reason why they're such fanboys of Sony is because that type of console with the way that they have their games, they output their games, the type of games they actually like that type of gaming. Right? That's why I said they're casuals, man. If I'm being nice, right, dude, their games come out every 1 or 2 years. It's story driven, same old type of game that's kind of explained to you, right? And I say, look, if you like the game, you like the game, or if you think it's awesome, you think it's awesome, right? I see some clips. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I can see that's production values in there. To tell they spent some money in it, right? Is it I call it BS on you saying this is the best game ever created, right? Definitely won't agree with you on that. It doesn't hold the specter in the gaming industry as this is the top, this is gold standard. Whatever. Can't tell me that, dude. I've been gaming my whole life. I've seen the rise and fall of games. I've seen some of the best come and go. And they don't have to be like AAA titles, dude, man. There's been some great games, I think. In my lifetime, anyway. But that's neither here nor there. But yeah. But prepare yourself, man. And we'll see, dude. Like I said, I'm pretty excited about it. Like I said, 90% positive. And 10% just give myself wiggle room to adjust accordingly. But are we going to get any big announcements? That's not what people are saying, or people are saying that asking that question. I wouldn't think so. I would love it, right? Or it has to be in a business because that's what it's supposed to be, unless they changed it. I haven't seen anything to say otherwise. But it's coming off as a business. It's like a Teams meeting kind of thing. But of course, doing it on a podcast, right, to make it more user friendly. That makes sense, right? Not like the COVID days when we were all watching them on screens and stuff like that. But what I can say is that I mean, they could do it, but it has to be like in that format, in my opinion. I could be wrong unless they change the format. But we might get some announcements. Who knows, man? All I know is, dude, we're ready. Put your boots on, man. Strap up and prepare yourself. Okay, and try not to take it too seriously. I know, really. Just try and enjoy your gaming. Right after, if you're listening to this podcast right now, and go and enjoy your games, dude. That's what I'm gonna do right now. I'm gonna play Palworld, man. I gotta go sell some pals. I gotta go pick up some food that I have my pals cooking. I'm gonna go sell it off. Maybe go try and find the black market dealer. Then I was thinking of if I'm brave enough, man, to take on one of these big bosses. I don't know, man. I got my fire arrows, but I'm thinking maybe I should get some poison arrows too. We'll see. Anyway, man, thank you guys for joining me. Zing, appreciate you being there, brother. I know you're busy, like I said. But yeah, doors open on Friday, man. Like I said, dude, come in. You can talk about whatever you want to do. You know how we do it on Wrecking Crew Podcast. But again, Friday night, guys, Wrecking Crew Podcast. You know how it goes in the Wrecking Crew Podcast, man. We could be all over the place, dude. Just adjust yourself accordingly. You listen to some stuff, you don't like it, jump out, come back in, check in, because ours tend to run long. But yeah, quick channel update for you guys. Xbox on channel. Host Sacred Forever, we are.